Did you know that before smartphones or electricity, one of the fastest ways to send a message was a bird? Yes, a real bird. Not an app, just a pigeon, a tiny message, and a lot of trust. But how did people talk across long distances before phones? How did kings send orders, armies call for help, and families hear from someone far away? The answer is a journey through smoke, drums, horses, pigeons, towers, wires, satellites, and finally, tiny screens on our wrists. For most of history, sending a message was slow, risky, and sometimes depended on whether your pigeon was having a productive day.
Communication was never just convenience. For early humans, it was survival. If danger was coming, people had to warn the group. If food was found, others needed to know. Today, we get annoyed when a message takes 3 seconds. Ancient people had a bigger problem. Their network coverage ended where their voice stopped. A human voice cannot cross mountains, forests, deserts, or oceans. So people had to solve one problem. How do you make information travel farther than your body can?
The earliest long-distance communication was visual and loud. People used fire, smoke, drums, horns, and signals from high places. A fire on a hill could warn another group. A drumbeat could travel through forests. Smoke could rise above trees. These systems were fast, but limited. A smoke signal could say, "Something is happening," but not, "Bring grain, 2 goats, and do not trust Steve." Still, humans turned nature into technology. Fire became an alarm. Sound became a message. A hill became a communication tower. It was basically the first ancient push notification, except instead of a soft vibration, it was a giant flame screaming, "Problem!" But as towns and cities grew, simple signals were no longer enough. People needed names, numbers, laws, trade information, and military orders. Communication needed writing, roads, and organized delivery.
When civilizations grew, messages became more complex. In Mesopotamia, people used clay tablets with cuneiform writing. In Egypt, scribes wrote on papyrus. In China, written messages moved through government networks. Persian royal roads helped messengers travel across huge distances. Instead of one exhausted person carrying a message the whole way, trained riders could pass through stations, change horses, and keep going.
The Romans later developed the cursus publicus, an official transport and messenger system across the empire. Still, messages could take days or weeks. Roads could be dangerous, ships could sink, horses got tired, humans got lost. So people kept searching faster, and this is where the story gets weird.
One of history's most surprising communication tools was the carrier pigeon. Pigeons have homing instinct. If trained correctly, they can return to their home loft from long distances. Humans realized something clever. If the pigeon flies home and the message is attached to the pigeon, then the message goes home too. It sounds ridiculous until you remember that it worked. Carrier pigeons were used in wars, sieges, and news delivery. During World War I, the pigeon Cher-Ami became famous for carrying a message from trapped American soldiers in 1918.
Imagine being in an emergency and your communication system is a small bird with a tiny tube on its leg. Today, if our phone battery drops below 10%, we panic. Back then, people had to hope the pigeon did not get lost, get shot, get eaten, or simply decide that communication was not its passion. Pigeons were fast, quiet, hard to intercept, and useful when roads were blocked. The only problem? Most pigeons flew home, not wherever you wanted. They were not magical flying mailboxes. They were more like one-direction biological text messages. Useful? Yes. Weird? Absolutely.
For centuries, communication improved step by step. Mounted couriers, postal roads, ships, flags, bells, and signal towers all became part of the system.
In the 1790s, Claude Chappe and his brothers developed a semaphore telegraph in France. Towers with moving arms watched through telescopes. A message could travel much faster than a horse. But there was a catch. It needed daylight, clear weather, trained operators, and towers close enough to see each other. Fog could basically cancel the entire internet of the 1790s. Then came electricity. The electric telegraph was a communication revolution. Instead of moving a person, horse, pigeon, or visual signal, people could send electrical pulses through wires. Those pulses became coded messages. Samuel Morse helped develop Morse code, a system of dots and dashes. In 1844, the first U.S. telegraph line from Washington to Baltimore sent the famous message, "What hath God wrought?" For the first time, information could move faster than any human, horse, ship, or pigeon. Then, in 1876, Alexander Graham Bell made the first successful telephone transmission of speech, calling to Thomas Watson. The telegraph sent coded signals. The telephone sent voices. To an ancient messenger, this would look like magic. To a pigeon, it probably looked like unemployment. The 20th century made communication invisible. Radio removed many wires. Television sent moving images. Satellites carried signals across the planet. Fiber optic cables used light to move huge amounts of data. Then computers connected into networks. In 1969, ARPANET, the early ancestor of the internet, made its first host-to-host connection. That helped lead to email, video calls, social media, and instant messaging.
Then, mobile phones made communication portable. Smartphones made it constant. And now, even the phone is not the final step. Smartwatches let people receive messages, answer calls, use voice assistants, track health, and stay connected from the wrist. So the journey went from smoke on a hill to a vibration on your wrist.
The future of communication may not just be faster, it may be smarter. Smart glasses could show messages in front of our eyes. AI assistants may summarize conversations before we open them. Real-time translation could make language barriers smaller. Communication may move from "I send a message" to "my devices understand what needs to be communicated." The evolution of communication is the story of humans refusing to be trapped by distance. From fires, drums, clay tablets, roads, pigeons, telegraphs, telephones, radio, satellites, the internet, smartphones, and smartwatches, every step solved the same ancient problem. I need you to know something, but you are not here. Today, a message can cross the world in seconds. A tiny watch can connect us to someone thousands of miles away. From ancient fires to smart devices, communication has always been the same dream: making distance disappear.